It's the busiest shopping week of the year. 40 million credit cards are about to be swiped at one of America's biggest retailers. And every single one of them is about to be stolen. Here's what should terrify every executive watching. The attackers never touched the firewall. They didn't crack the perimeter. They didn't deploy some nation-state zero-day. They got in through the air conditioning company, a heating and cooling contractor. That was the front door to a $200 million catastrophe. And the reason it worked is the same reason most corporate networks are still quietly indefensible today, 12 years later. It's a belief, a comforting, expensive, completely false belief that once you're inside the network, you're safe. I'm going to show you exactly how that belief gets exploited, step by step, and the one architectural shift that makes these attacks structurally impossible. If you sign off on security budgets, this is the most important 15 minutes you'll spend this quarter. For 30 years, this is how we built security. A castle, hard shell, soft center, firewalls, intrusion detection, VPNs, all of it. A digital moat designed to keep the barbarians out. And here's the fatal assumption baked into the whole design. Once you're across the moat, you're trusted, fully. Presence equals permission. The network assumes that if you got inside, you belong inside. That model was already fragile. Then, the walls evaporated entirely. Cloud, SaaS, remote work, your data doesn't live in one castle anymore. It's spread across a dozen clouds, accessed from everywhere. There is no inside left to defend. And what got left behind inside most companies is the single most dangerous structure in cybersecurity. It's called a flat network, and it's why one stolen password from an HVAC vendor can cost you $200 million. In a flat network, everything talks to everything. An intern's laptop can reach the finance database. A smart thermostat can reach a domain controller. It's efficient, it's easy to manage, and it's a catastrophe waiting for a match. Traditional tools watch north-south traffic, data crossing the perimeter. But they're nearly blind to east-west traffic, data moving sideways, device to device, inside the walls. That's where attackers live. So when one device gets compromised, a phishing click, a stolen credential, the attacker doesn't hit a single wall. They move laterally, with almost zero resistance, map the network, escalate privileges, find the crown jewels. Security teams call this the blast radius. In a flat network, the blast radius is everything. It gets worse when you factor in identity infrastructure like Active Directory. Certain vulnerabilities let an ordinary authenticated user escalate to domain-wide control. No elevated starting access, no user interaction, and often no alert at the perimeter at all. In a flat network, that's game over. Now let me show you exactly what that looks like when it actually happened. 2013, Target. The breach that should have ended the Castle and Moat era, but somehow didn't. Let's walk the kill chain. Step 1. The contractor. The attackers didn't target Target directly. They phished a third-party HVAC vendor with InfoStealer malware, harvesting the vendor's login for a Target vendor portal. Legitimate credentials. Front door key. Step 2. The flat network. The vendor portal should have been walled off from everything critical. It wasn't. So the attackers moved laterally, from a low-sensitivity vendor system into Target's core corporate infrastructure. Step 3. Domain admin. Using a technique called pass the hash, they stole Active Directory domain administrator credentials. Now they own the keys to the entire network. Step 4. The pivot. They went for the card databases, but those were encrypted thanks to PCI compliance, a real control that actually worked. So they adapted. Step 5. The registers. They deployed RAM-scraping malware to roughly 40,000 point-of-sale terminals, grabbing card data in plain text the instant it hit memory, before encryption could protect it. Then funneled it out to external servers. And the cruelest detail? Target's security tools did fire alerts during the intrusion. The alerts were there. Nobody acted in time. Multiple layers of perimeter defense, defeated not by superior hacking, but by implicit trust and a flat network. The answer to all of this has a name: Zero Trust. Coined as a framework in 2010 by Forrester's John Kindervag, its logic is brutal and simple. Trust is a human emotion. We injected it into machines by accident. A network packet doesn't deserve trust just because of where it came from. Zero Trust says no user, no device, no workload is ever implicitly trusted, inside or outside. Every request gets authenticated, authorized, and continuously verified. You replace one big attack surface with many small, heavily defended protect surfaces. And this isn't vendor marketing. It's codified in two authoritative blueprints: NIST 800-207, the reference architecture, and CISA's maturity model, the roadmap. NIST describes a decision brain, the policy decision point, that weighs signals, identity, device health, location, behavior, threat intelligence, and a gatekeeper, the policy enforcement point, that sits in front of every resource and enforces the verdict. Allow, limit, or terminate. Every session, every time. CISA breaks it into 5 pillars. But notice which one anchors everything. Identity. Because in a world with no perimeter, identity is the only control plane left, which is exactly where attackers have moved their aim. Here's the shift Gartner and Forrester now treat as settled fact. The perimeter didn't move. It shrank, all the way down to identity. Each user, each machine, each workload carries its own perimeter now. Old security asked, where are you connecting from? Inside the network? Then you're trusted. Identity-first security asks a better question. Who are you? What are you? And should you be doing this right now? Location becomes just one weak signal among many. And this is the uncomfortable truth the last decade taught us. Attackers don't hack in anymore. They log in. Which means your defenses now live or die on how well you protect identity itself. So let me show you how they beat even good identity setups. Uber had MFA. It didn't matter. The attacker bought a contractor's stolen password on the dark web. But the password alone was useless against MFA. So they attacked the human. They spammed the contractor with a relentless flood of MFA approval prompts, a technique called MFA fatigue or push bombing. Then they messaged the contractor on WhatsApp, pretending to be Uber IT. Approve it to make the alert stop. Worn down, the contractor tapped approve. The attacker was in. Then the flat network problem struck again. Inside a network share, the attacker found PowerShell scripts with hard-coded admin passwords for Uber's privileged access platform, the vault that holds every other credential, sitting in plain text. Game over. AWS, Google Workspace, VMware, their security platform, internal Slack, all of it. The lesson? An expensive privileged access vault is worthless if its own keys are lying around on a flat network. 1 year later, Scattered Spider showed the world an even faster path. They didn't touch an employee's device at all. They researched a privileged MGM employee on LinkedIn, pulled personal details from data brokers, and picked up the phone. They called the IT help desk, impersonating that employee. The help desk did what it was trained to do, asked security questions. The attackers had every answer, harvested from public data. Total call time? About 10 minutes. The help desk reset the password and enrolled a new MFA device. The attackers. In that instant, every cryptographic control was bypassed. The attacker was now the legitimate, verified account holder in the eyes of the identity system. Holding admin access to MGM's identity platforms, they reached the virtualization layer and detonated ransomware across more than 100 hypervisors. Slot machines dead, Digital room keys, dead. Payment systems, dead. No malware genius, no 0 day. A phone call unraveled a casino empire because a single help desk agent, with single agent approval and no out-of-band verification, could reset the keys to the kingdom. But we have phishing-resistant MFA. Good. Attackers adapted again. After you log in, the app hands your browser a session token, a wristband that says, "Already verified," so you're not re-challenged every click. Steal that wristband through a fake proxy site or info-stealer malware, and you skip login entirely. It's called session hijacking. The identity provider already blessed the token, so the gateway waves the attacker straight through, MFA and all. This is why verify at login is a fatal half measure. If you only check identity at 8 in the morning and the token is stolen at 9 and replayed at 10, your architecture sees an authorized session and lets it run. True Zero Trust demands continuous verification, continuously rescore the session, impossible travel, an abnormal data download, an unfamiliar device, and the decision engine steps up authentication or terminates on the spot. A stolen token becomes nearly worthless the moment the behavior looks wrong. Now the part almost no boardroom is tracking. While everyone watches human logins, the real explosion is non-human. Service accounts, API keys, OAuth tokens, bots, CI/CD pipelines, AI workloads. They outnumber your people by 50 to 1, sometimes over 100 to 1. And unlike employees, they're not governed by HR, rarely get MFA, and often run on static credentials that never expire. A perfect invisible target. Nearly 24 million secrets leaked on GitHub in a single year. 96% of those tokens had write access, and secrets exposed years ago are still live in production today. When an employee quits, you kill their account in minutes. That API key they made 3 years ago, it never left. And no, a secrets vault alone doesn't fix this. Vaults protect credentials at rest. But the moment a workload pulls a secret into memory to use it, it's exposed and scrapable. The real fix is dynamic. Short-lived, ephemeral credentials injected just in time and revoked the instant the task ends. Zero standing privileges. Nothing static for an attacker to steal. And here's the frontier that changes the math entirely. Agentic AI. Autonomous agents that reason, chain tools, and act on your behalf using these same machine credentials. Hide a malicious instruction in a document an agent is reading. Prompt injection, and you can hijack it. Now your overprivileged AI exfiltrates data on the attacker's behalf. A confused deputy with the keys to your infrastructure. Securing this demands treating every agent as its own identity, with a defined job description, isolated credentials, and continuous behavioral monitoring. So what actually defeats every attack in this video? 4 moves. Screenshot this one. 1. Microsegmentation. Shatter the flat network into isolated zones. A bespoke firewall around every workload. Now a compromised device is trapped in its own cell. This alone would have contained Target and Uber. 2. Zero standing privileges. No permanent admin rights. Grant access just in time for the task. Then destroy it. Nothing standing means nothing to steal or inherit. 3. Continuous verification. Never trust a login as permanent. Rescore every session in real time. Device, behavior, location. And cut it the instant something's wrong. 4. Make identity the control plane for humans, machines, and AI. Not an afterthought. The center of the whole architecture. The castle is gone. It was always a myth. What replaces it isn't a bigger wall. It's a system that assumes the threat is already inside and verifies everything, continuously, forever. Let me leave you with one question for your next board meeting. How much of your security budget is still protecting walls that no longer define your environment? If this shifted your perspective, hit subscribe. This channel dives into the threats most vendors avoid discussing and the architecture decisions that genuinely lower enterprise risk. I'll see you in the next breakdown.